So, Avengers Endgame. Oh, it was very good. I thought it was very good. There were a couple of parts I didn't like. I'm going to talk about that first. By the way, this is called the spoiled review for a reason. I'm going to spoil the shit out of this movie. So if you haven't seen it or don't want to know what happens in it, you gotta go. There's your warning. So the scenes I didn't like, I didn't like the scene with Hulk and Ant-Man in the cafe with the kids and they take the picture and that whole fucking scene. That entire fucking scene was just cringe as shit. And the aging of Ant-Man, baby Ant-Man and young Ant-Man and old Ant-Man, all that shit, I was kind of like, this is going on a long time. They could have cut this for timing. Like, it's an hour and a half, or 2.5 hour movie. Or damn near a 3 hour fucking movie. Yeah, it's like a 3 hour fucking movie. And, you know, I'm sitting there going, did they just go, we're not going to edit anything for timing? Like, that's going to be our thing? I'm like, oh my god. So, yeah, those two scenes I didn't like. Everything else about the movie I liked. One of the things I absolutely loved. I loved Captain Marvel. I don't know why they did it. I don't know if it was just a knee-jerk reaction and they were pissed and they were like, fuck it. Our shit's done with. Fuck the next people that come along. They can just, they'll never be as good as we are because they're just going to suck dick, right? Because they want to bank everything on Captain Marvel. They want her to be the next leader. They want her to be the next fucking Iron Man. So, she comes in to save Tony and Nebula drifting in space. She saves Tony and Nebula drifting in space. They have a conversation wherein she's essentially looked at as, hey, you know what, I know that you're all gung-ho because you're a new guy and shit, but shut the fuck up, we're the adults are talking. Like, it's kind of like that, has that kind of tone to it. It was mostly Don Cheadle from the interview. I get it, Don. I love you, man. So, they kind of shit on her, tell her to shut the fuck up. She shuts the fuck up. And then they decide what they're going to go and try and do. And then she goes, oh, I'm just going to go and fucking kill Thanos. And they're like, what? Hey, asshole. Like, I know that you're all like gung-ho and shit because you're the new guy, but like, we're a team and shit. So fuck, simmer the fuck down. We're going to figure this out together. And then she shuts the fuck up. And then they figure it out. And then she flies in and holds Thanos' arm. And he's pretty much half dead, so whatever. And then they kill Thanos. And then she kind of leaves. We see her again in hologram giving a report. Wherein they attempted to have her do some playful banter with the team. And it was really kind of funny to me because the first attempt was with Rocket, who was with Nebula, who are like the most recent members of the Avengers, not counting Captain Marvel, who is the most recent. So they should still even have some of the kind of, you know, and their interaction just came off fucking uncomfortable because they kind of groused at her about how she's not helping out on Earth, and she kind of said, hey, there's a lot of fucking planets. And it came off kind of like, I don't know, cunty, and I don't know, it was just kind of like that thing. And then she kind of, dude, she just goes, yeah, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff out here, so you're probably not going to see me for a while. And I'm like, And, like, she was so shoehorned into it all. Like, it just had this really weird... Like, she looks at Rhodey, good luck, because she knows what he's about to talk to Black Widow about, but, like, you know, and like, he just kind of is like, yeah. And, like, it's almost like, yeah, what? Get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't know. It just had this uncomfortable vibe to it. All of her interactions with everybody just had this comfortable... Oh, it was just so weird. It was so cringe. And then she's gone. Until literally, like, everything's hitting its most grim point for, like, the 20th time. And she comes in. And, like, the wrecking ball that her character pretty much just is, she just flies through Thanos' ship and destroys it. And it was like... like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It was just... I think... I don't know. It was just so bad. It was just so badly... It was like, well, there's this big thing, and we had this other way that we were going to deal with it, but... Fuck it. She flies through ships, so that's her shtick. And they just had her fly through a fucking ship. Oh, it was just... gay. And then, like, she lands, right? Fight Thanos, right? And she's fucking hold back Thanos, right? And he just picks her up by her ankle and fucking chucks her. And then she's like gone again. And then fucking there's this whole thing. There's this whole thing where Hawkeye finds the gauntlet. Thanos just bombs the shit out of the Avengers. They've already won Thanos, but man, I'm not going into the whole goddamn story. So they got the gauntlet. Thanos is trying to get the gauntlet. The Avengers are trying to get the gauntlet out of fucking this timeline because it's the whole thing. So Hawkeye is fucking running with the gauntlet, right? And he's carrying this thing from, like, inside of the underneath of the destroyed fucking building. So he's going through all tunnels and shit and fighting Chitauri as he's going along and all this. Very heroic, very cool. Loved Hawkeye in this movie. Very cool moments, very sad moments, very good character. Very well written, very well built. It's amazing what you can do. But, yeah. So, he's running with this fucking gauntlet, gets out, what do you want me to do with this gauntlet? Take it to the fucking thing. Alright. And so he starts running, and he's running through the whole fucking army, right? And he's fucking running, and then it gets tough, you know, because he's just a dude. And so, fucking Black Panther runs up. Give it to me, Clint. So, fucking handing off the baton. And then fucking Black Panther takes that shit. And he's fucking running. And he's indestructible as fuck. So they're shooting him and he doesn't even care. Because it's like, bitch, you just charged up my suit. And then you fucking just, you know. So he does his I'm indestructible thing. Because, you know. So, and then it winds up getting to the point where it's tough for him. Because he runs into Thanos. Because when you're indestructible, you have to run into somebody to kick your fucking ass. And it's got to be the dude that can kick your fucking ass. And there you go. So he runs into Thanos. And they chuck it off to my boy, Spidey. Spidey gets the fucking baton. And he's fucking zipping like crazy through the whole thing, fighting motherfuckers and just running and taking... It was so great. And then when Thanos fucking started bombarding the battlefield from the ship, which was the reason why we'll go to have Captain Marvel fly through the ship, because they just keep doing that forever. Even though, why the fuck would they do that forever? Whatever. Alright, so, anyways. So, they stop bombarding the fucking, right? And then Captain Marvel flies through and crush through it. And then she's crushed ship. And then she crashes through the ship a couple times. And then she lands next to Spider-Man. And does this kind of pithy, look, I have character line. Where she's like, you know, she lands and he goes, hi, I'm Peter Parker. And she goes, hi, Peter Parker. Got something for me? And it's like, it almost comes like, Honestly, I do think that Brie can have some acting chops when she has a degree of humility, because that's what makes you a whole person. She doesn't have that with this character at all. So she, like, I really want to like the character, I do, but she's got to get better fucking writing. Because, Jesus Christ, she's going to tank the whole goddamn multi-billion-dollar industry if she stinks it up like this shit, like she did in her fucking first movie. But anyways. So, whatever. You got something for me, Pete? And he's like, and he hands her the fucking gauntlet. And then she fucking turns around and all these fucking monsters coming at him, right? Because they keep just pushing everybody back. Like, they just, everybody fights everybody. And I don't know what it is. It's so weird. Like, everybody, all the bad guys just run backwards far faster than the fucking good guys are running forwards. I don't get it. But whatever. It's a comic book. A little plot holes, but who cares? It was cool. So, I can say that about that because it was for the sake of coolness and it was cool. So, I don't give a shit. But, so, they're seeing all the fucking nastiness coming at them. And Peter Parker goes, how are you going to get through that? And I forget who it was first, but one of the female superheroes, it might have been Valkyrie, I'm not sure, I don't remember. It might have been Pepper, I don't know. There's so fucking many of them at this point. But all the girls, one of the girls comes in and says, oh, she'll have help. And then all the girls, like 50 fucking girl characters all come in and they're all fucking, straightening up their shit and getting ready to go fucking tear some ass, right? And they just badass it out and they're just fucking up everything. All the girls. As Captain Marvel's just flying through. Oh, it was almost like, bitch, you were the first. Fuck you, you were the first. Man. And yeah, none of them have never held their own movie. But, dude, I could see a Pepper Potts movie. You know what I mean? Like, I could see a good Ironheart movie if they don't fucking make it all about my feminist agenda. Like, if they actually do a good story, I could see a good Pepper Potts taking over as fucking Iron Woman or whatever they want to do. I could see that. She could hold a good fucking movie. If they get the writers from Iron Man 3, they're fucked. But if they get the writers from Iron Man 1, that'd be pretty good. So, right? I could see a Valkyrie movie. I could see any of those girls having a movie. Not so much Black Widow at this point, but whatever. That would have been cool if they would have done it. But maybe they'll just do it as like, hey, Black Widow. But, yeah, so she's just flying through, and then Thanos finally catches her and pretty much fucking takes the gauntlet from her. Like, dude, it's... Man, I don't know. It was hysterical. Her whole part in the whole movie was fucking hysterical. Now, about my prediction. There's gonna be some stupid time storyline where they're just gonna Ex Machina. We go back in time. Yeah, kind of they did. But, here's the thing. They decided to do, like, this has been a long fucking time. And you know how, like, in old TV shows, old sitcoms, like Cosby Show and shit, like, well, not to mention Bill Cosby, but, the Cosby Show and shows like that, where they would always do those remembering back episodes, where, like, they would remember scenes from past episodes, right? They always did that kind of shit. They really kind of went that direction with this movie. Yeah, they went back in time. It wasn't as queer as everybody was saying it was going to be. They were essentially saying that some god was just going to come in and go, here's time things, go do it. And they didn't do that, so that was pretty cool. It actually played out very believable and very well. The way that Tony comes up with how to time travel was hysterical. The whole scene with his daughter was great. I loved it. Pretty much the whole movie was just an emotional roller coaster for me because I've been invested in this thing. I've watched every one of these movies since Iron Man came out. So I've been invested in this thing. Like, I'm very close to a lot of these characters because we've been through a lot of shit together. So, you know, it was cool to see Tony happy. I like the way that they played off the whole Captain America and Tony Stark thing. Like, they just could never agree on anything. I like that. I thought the whole interplay of all the characters was very well done, and the going back in time thing. I thought it was cool the way that they played it out, because the only person they had to really come up with the idea was Scott, because he's the only one that really had any actual personal experience with traveling through time in any sort of way. So, like, and he's not a fucking scientist. He's just a schmuck. He's just a thief. Like, that's his thing. That's his superpower. He's kind of a schmuck, and he's a thief. He's a bank robber or whatever the hell he is. You know what I mean? So, like, he doesn't know anything, but he's like, I know you do this. And they figure it out, and they wanted to get all 6 of the stones. And they were able to figure out where all 6 of the stones were at certain times, which, coincidentally enough, happened to be fucking movies from the franchise. So yeah, they went back to the Battle for New York, and they did a thing with all of that, and that was very cool. Those were amazing scenes. The Hulk, the guy that plays Banner, I can't remember his name, and Tilda Swanson, the ancient one, their whole bit was so good. I love her so much. She's such an amazing actress. I am so happy that they cast her as the ancient one. At the time, I was kind of like, well, they're making the ancient one a woman, but it's Tilda Swanson, so I think she could probably hang. And man, she's so fucking awesome. She was so good. Just the emotion that she just conveys is so great. Oh, she was so good. So that was all very cool. It was very cool the way they did it. I like that they went back to Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And they went back to... they went back to Thor Dark World, which made me laugh so hard. Because, like, they were really just there to do this really weird character arc with Thor, which was another scene I didn't like. The whole, like, when Hulk went to go and talk to Thor. That scene was really, 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 really way too long. It had a whole lot of way too much in it to really drive home that Thor has become kind of a shell of a fucking shadow of a man. And they didn't really do a whole hell of a lot to repair that. So, like, they go into Thor Dark World, and, like, he's a sniveling little bitch. And he winds up doing this heart-to-heart with his mom. And he leaves on really this... I don't even know. Like, as he's getting ready to go, he calls for Mjolnir. And Mjolnir comes. And he takes Mjolnir. And he goes, I'm still worthy! And I'm like... And you're still kind of a putz. And then they never really developed his character again until Thanos is there, and he's standing there just looking at him, and like all of a sudden he's badass Thor, and I'm like, what? So, I don't know. I think it would have been much better if he would have had a better conversation with his mom, and she gave him more of a fucking kick in the ass than she did. She was very tender with him, and that's not really what he needed, I think, at that point. I think he needed more of a kick in the fucking ass. And if he would have, you know, fucking got Mjolnir and been like, of course I'm still worthy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It would have made his character being so bad. I don't know. It was just... That I didn't really care for. Again, Thor the Dark World, just shitting on everything. But whatever. It was interesting the way that they went with it. I did like Rocket's part in that scene, and I thought it was hysterical that it almost looks like they brought back what's her face to play Jane, but like she just gets out of a bed and walks out of frame. So I'm not entirely sure if they actually had to film a new scene with her to do that, and if they did, that That's kind of funny because I could just imagine that was just a fucking like if she was contractually made to do that, then that would just be like an inconvenience for her day. Like they didn't need to use her, but they just were like, fuck her, bring her in. Like I don't know. Like it just made me laugh. Because I guess she doesn't really get along with Marvel and the whole Disney thing very much now. And I don't know. She was in some shitty movies. What do you want? But because I mean, come on, Thor didn't really get good until Ragnarok, right? But yeah. I don't know. There's just so much to it. It was so great. The pairings of people that they sent through time to go and get, that was very cool. The matchups that they made, the trick, like it was very interesting to see an old grizzled Captain America. You know what I mean? Like it was very interesting to see an old grizzled Captain America that was willing to use dirty tricks. Like, that was very cool to see. I liked that. That was an interesting character evolution. I thought that was very cool. I loved that they spent so much time dealing with the world now that 50% of people are gone. I thought that was very fucking cool. That they really tried to flesh out what it was like for people. They did a lot of overhead panning shots of just desolate streets and a lot of scenes with your normal average everyday citizen just looking just awful. And the Captain America runs like a group session for a bunch of guys. And this was kind of a funny scene. And people might be mad at me about this, but nevertheless, it was kind of a funny scene. It made me giggle a little bit. Right? I wasn't offended by it. I don't mean to offend anybody by my thoughts on it. This just made me laugh. In the group session with Cap, he's talking to a guy. They're talking about getting back to meeting people, right? Having relationships with people. And this guy chimes in and he's like, I went on a date recently with somebody. And they're like, oh, well, how did that go? And he's like, well, it was good. We went to dinner. And we, got into talking about what happened. And he cried before the entrees got there. And I'm like, and I'm kind of like, so this is a gay guy talking about meeting another gay guy. And I'm like, alright. I'm like, whatever. Like, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Gay people, whatever. Do your fucking thing. But, like, if 50% of the world just up in ashes, right? One would kind of think that there might be a thing where we kind of go, look, you can still be gay. We need your fucking sperm. Because we've lost 50% of our population, and we got a lot of jobs we need to fill, so we need people to have some fucking children. Like, you have kids, find lesbians, and sperm and egg, and just raise kids with each other, but fucking whatever. Like, you need to go into this with the thought, I'm going to have children. God damn it, like, I don't know. I thought it was kind of fun. It made me kind of giggle at the thought of it because I was just like, that's a really odd thing to throw into the movie because it is a movie about what happens when 50% of the world dies unexpectedly all of a sudden, and then it's normalizing homosexuality, but at the same time it's kind of like calling it in. It's going like. But, had it been a woman talking about I met a man, or a man talking about I met a woman, I don't think that there would ever be anybody that would think anything off about it. But I think that the 50% of the world is gone and they do this, and I'm like... So I thought that was an interesting choice. I'm not critiquing it all. I'm just saying I think it's an interesting choice. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was good. I think it was pretty benign. I think it conveyed the emotion of the scene well. I mean, it was still, it still gave you all of the sense of what was going on. It didn't really ruin anything. They didn't harp on it. They didn't bring it. Nobody, they didn't have an asshole in the fucking group going, "Why are you fucking guys? We need people." They didn't go that route with it. They didn't fucking try and make a thing of it. It was just a thing. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. It just made me laugh. But I thought it was a fine scene. I thought it was a great scene. I thought it was a very good scene. It really conveyed the motion of what it would be like afterwards. I thought it was cool that there's Captain America sitting in a fucking room, and it was like an empty fucking back room in a church or something like that's what it looked like, chairs stacked on tables and shit like that. And they're just sitting in one section of the room that's the only section with a light on. And they're all just sitting in a circle fucking talking about shit. And there's Captain America leading the group. And it was just interesting to, they're talking about these mundane things like, I went on a date and it was sad and we both cried. And there's Captain America going, yeah, it was tough for us too when we actually lost personally. It was a very cool scene. Don't get me wrong, it was a great scene. But it was very surreal. The whole scene was just very surreal. And it was meant to be. So, it was very good. It was very well done. I thought the whole thing was just very good. There's those few little bumps in the road. Really, honestly, other than those things, I thought it was fantastic. And I really thought that the girl power moment was fantastic because I really thought it was kind of them fucking thumbing their nose at Brie Larson, really, personally, I think. Because she just has this thing about her where she's just unlikable. She's so arrogant. And she's literally going around talking about how she's the first woman to ever run a franchise like this. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And people online have been saying, what about Ripley in Aliens? And I'm like, Ripley in Aliens? What about every woman that's ever been in a fucking horror movie ever? They were all leads. All of the girl... Nightmare on Elm Street? If we're gonna add fucking Alien, Nightmare on Elm Street, every fucking one of those movies, lead woman. Why? Because the girl always beats Freddy. They were, whatever. Okay, Freddy's the bad guy. He's the lead. But the main hero? Always a woman. Friday the 13th. Right? Halloween. If you really want to throw Alien in, guess what? You're going to have to pay homage to a hell of a lot more fucking women than Mila Jovovich and I can't think of who. Son of a bitch. Who is the superhero one? There were so many of them that I heard listed yesterday, and I can't think of fucking any of them right now. There's a bunch of them, though. God damn it. But yeah, so she's just such an ass, and I thought that the whole girl power thing was mostly kind of them going, bitch. So I was on board with it. I was laughing my ass off, man. I was howling. But, man, it was a fucking great movie. They pulled it off so well. It's amazing to me. So many different writers wrote those movies over the span of 10 years. And for them to have a team of writers that could write such a coherent script that had so many elements of characters, character development, storylines, story arcs, spanning years, what we're gonna go with the 50s from Captain America, right? So until the modern day. So all of this shit happening over all this time and all these characters that were involved in all these ways, and you know, these characters met here under these circumstances, and this, and now we have to have them interact with each other, and this has got to, you know, all this kind of stuff, to have it just coalesce into something that was so good and so well put together and well thought out. It's really impressive. It's really an amazing feat. Like, for anybody that I know Benji's fucking criticizing this. Benji, I hope you're watching. Benji, I think, is in some ways criticizing it. I don't know exactly the way he plays it off is that he didn't really like it. I don't know. I don't really know exactly what he thinks. I don't know. He invited me to get on Twitch with him, but I was like, no, I'm gonna watch it again. So I didn't get on Twitch with him. But whatever. If he didn't like it, okay, fine. There were cringy scenes, but you cannot say that the writing was in any way really all that flawed. And if you do, I'd love to hear what it is, because I don't know, man, I didn't catch anything, and I've watched every single one of these movies many multiple times, because there is nothing good new coming out except these movies. So if I want to watch something that's not an old movie I've already seen a million times, I gotta watch one of them. And if I want to watch a movie I have already seen but not seen 100 times, then I gotta watch one of them. So I've watched them all 100 times now. So, and I didn't notice anything. So I challenge anybody to find, you know, egregious mismanagement of the writing, because I didn't notice any. I thought it was fantastic. So yeah, there's my review. 6 stones up. Right? Where's my... Oh, I actually got this out for this. Man, I give it one fucking infinity gauntlet. This is my mitt, my oven mitt from what the fuck was it? Loot Crate. They gave us an infinity gauntlet oven mitt, and then they recalled it because apparently people's hands were getting set on fire because these are not fire safe. But I was like, fuck that, I'm keeping mine because it's cool. I don't give a shit. Like, you're not going to give me another one, and I want to keep it because it's cool. So, yeah, that's my non-flame retardant oven mitt that is the Infinity Gauntlet of Power. I thought it was an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, and you've watched this far, sorry. But I tried to keep it as disjointed and confusing as possible, so that at least maybe when you watch it, you'll be like, oh, okay, now I totally get what he was talking about. And instead of going, oh, it's all ruined for me. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm doing my best here. But if you haven't seen it, sorry. And if you have seen it, fucking right. And if you haven't seen it, go see it, because then you can be like, fuck, right. So, yeah, there you go. Have a good day.